Hello there and welcome back to the ClueCon Deconstructed studio. I'm very pleased to be recording this special recording with Seven Du. How are you doing today, Seven?
Hey, David, I'm good. How are you doing?
Excellent, thank you. Really glad to have you along. I've met you many times at ClueCon, Seven. How many ClueCons have you been to altogether?
It's like 8 or 10. I don't remember.
That's a great collection. Yeah, I think I've been to 6 or thereabouts, but I don't remember going to one that didn't feature Seven Du. So I'm very pleased to be making this recording with you. And you're coming to us all the way from China. Whereabouts are you over there?
Yeah, I'm in Yantai. It's at the east part of China, at the seaside.
Oh, great. That's good to know. Now, Seven, I know you've got a great presentation lined up for us, but before we get into that, can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved in telecoms in the first place, and then how you found your way into FreeSWITCH, please?
Telecom. Okay, that's a long story. It's almost 20 years ago when I graduated from college. I worked in a company called China Telecom. Then I learned everything about telecom, PSTN, and SS7. Most of my work was just monitoring the system, and when something went wrong, found out the place and replaced the hardware. Okay, that's more like a joke, but really the job was not creative enough for me. So a few
Right.
years later, I went to another company doing online training, where I learned the FreeSWITCH. It's 2008. I joined the FreeSWITCH mailing list, wrote some wiki pages and reported, and finally started fixing bugs. I created the Chinese FreeSWITCH community in 2009. I even wrote a book called FreeSWITCH, The Definitive Guide in Chinese in 2014. I
Great.
contributed a lot of code to FreeSWITCH core and a lot of model. Most initial video and conference MCU code was made by me.
Brilliant. That's a significant contribution.
Yeah, I also do. I love contribution. I also do FreeSWITCH training and consulting in China. Recently, I'm focusing on X-Switch Cloud, a PBX solution and a call center solution built on top of FreeSWITCH. I love telecom.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, but you reminded me of a saying from Mark Spencer, the creator of Asterisk, that not everybody loves telecom, but those people who get excited about telecom get really excited about telecom. So that's good. Now, I believe you've got a presentation for us lined up about using Lua in the world of RTC. But before we go and start your screen share, why would somebody want to use Lua as opposed to maybe the flat configuration files that you can use for FreeSWITCH?
Yes, Lua is a very small language. It's very lightweight and very small, but very powerful and easy to use. So it's very fit into FreeSWITCH to make complex dial call flow and everything.
Right. Okay. So there are some advantages. All right. What I'm going to do, Seven, is pop your screen share up and pop you in the top corner. There you are. And if you'd like to go ahead with your presentation, we're all listening.
Okay, cool. Hello, everyone. My talk is about build a RTC system with Lua. So what is Lua? Lua is made by a Brazil author. It's basically it's an embeddable, lightweight, fast, and powerful scripting language. A lot of people using that in game, but also a lot of people using that in FreeSWITCH. So FreeSWITCH and Lua. FreeSWITCH using Swig to connect with Lua. Swig is a software development tool that connects the program write in C and C++ with a variety of high-level programming languages like Perl, Java, Python, and PHP. FreeSWITCH support all that, but Lua is the most lightweight one. So I just use Lua. So we talk Lua today. And here's basic script that answer a call with Lua. When you make a call to FreeSWITCH, and the FreeSWITCH will it can execute an application and Lua application, and it will interpret a Lua script. And a session object is automatically created for the script. So you can do session answer to answer the call, and the stream file to play a file, or using speak to call some TTS function to play TTS to the user, and hang up.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Here it's more complex dictation example. Let's go with the session part. So it first using set TTS param. I use the Baidu TTS engine, and the session answer the call, and the stream file just play a beep. So after the beep, I can start talking, and I use a set input callback to set up an callback function. So whenever speech is detected, it will call the callback function. Then I call the detect speech application. It also use the Baidu ASR engine, and that do speech detection, since I need that for Chinese. Okay, so when I call, when I speak, and it will be detect my speech and call the on input callback, and come with some JSON in the body, and I can get the JSON text and find out what text it heard, and write it to a text file. When that is done, I need to call detect speech resume to for another loop of detection. So you can just talk and over, and it will detect your speech. This is the screenshot. The left side is FreeSWITCH console, and the right side is the file displaying in real time. Okay, not all ASR result is perfect, but I just chose a perfect one. It's a real one anyway.
Good choice.
Okay, sorry, it's all in Chinese.
Okay.
So nowadays a lot of people using JSON. FreeSWITCH also has built-in JSON parser in C. We just export that to Lua, so you can mostly you can better to use that. So freeze.json will give back a JSON object. It can use JSON decode to decode a JSON string and into a table. Everything in Lua is basically a table, except for simple one like integer and string, etc. So when it's decoded into a Lua table, and it's very easy to access every member in the JSON object. Here is a more complex one, and just more complex JSON string. It can handle everything. And okay, so all the Lua JSON code is already merged into the FreeSWITCH tree, and we also made some Lua curl implementation. This is not yet merged into the FreeSWITCH tree, but we will get that soon. So curl is basically HTTP client. It's also very popular. Before that, if you want to use curl and FreeSWITCH, you need to use mod curl, which is a model. But it's not very flexible, since you need to build some text command line. But with the Lua curl implementation, it's just like the PHP equivalent syntax, and you can use curl get to get a URL and check the return code and content type, content length, header, body, and everything. You can also make a put request to HTTP server. So and also set custom header and feed in data just in plain Lua table, and it will automatically convert that into a string body if you set the data type to application JSON.
Right.
And XML binding. FreeSWITCH basically using static XML binding, using static XML configuration. But if you want to store your user information and your routing information into a database, you need some dynamic way to generate XML configuration. And in mod Lua, it allows you to make a band Lua script. You can band it to dial plan, configuration, directory, language, whatever it supports. And whenever FreeSWITCH need XML, it will call your handler Lua script. So you can get a chance to pull your direct database and generate the XML configuration on the fly. So it's very very powerful.
That's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, we also use HTTP server. We built the HTTP server in mod Virtual, and if you make some configuration and add some rewrite rule, so all the like in the screen you can see all the root API directory, it goes to a Lua script. So whenever you make HTTP call to FreeSWITCH, and it will call this Lua script, and you can generate responses with Lua. To make that easy, I made a framework, a little framework called Extra. It's basically Extra is a MVC framework. It's inspired with well-known frameworks like Sinatra and Ruby, and Express in Node.js, and Flask, Bottle, Mercury, whatever in Python or whatever. So it's MVC framework. And we can see here is some pseudocode for channel operation. We just implement some RESTful API. So if you get the root directory, it called API to show channel as JSON, it will return all the channels in FreeSWITCH. And if you want to get a particular channel, you can it will map to UUID dump and also return but it only return the only UUID. And if you want to create a channel, you use a protocol to FreeSWITCH. Then FreeSWITCH can call the originate command to make a channel. And if you want to modify a call in the middle, you can use UUID media on, off, or whatever, and delete. Just will map to UUID kill. It will hang up a call. So it naturally mapped to HTTP, to RESTful and HTTP and FreeSWITCH channel.
Right.
And basically every application needs to talk to the database. So I made a simple ORM. ORM means object relation map. So it will map object to some relational database. It's called XDB. For example, if we want to get all the user information, we can use XDB find all. It will map to select a star from user. And if you find a particular user, it will just select star from user where ID equal ID. And if you want to create a user, just map to insert. And if you update a user and you want to delete a user. So also the rest of all the RESTful APIs will map to the ORM operation.
Right, and that ORM is good for both querying the database and for writing to it.
Yes, and you
Great
can delete
stuff.
from the database. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the front end, we use React. React is a framework made by Facebook, and it's very popular to write the front end. So at the back end, the FreeSWITCH will generate JSON response to your API request and give you back some JSON data. And in the foreground and in the front end, you can just using React to display render that into some web pages. We also have made some fun. We changed the Google Blockly and extended that to FreeSWITCH and made some drag and drop blocks. So you can just drag and drop. It will make some program. When you save this program to the backend, it will generate an intermediate XML format. But we also turn that into a Lua script. So when FreeSWITCH got a call, it can call the Lua script. So you can using this to make a very complex IVR or whatever, and it's very fun.
Yeah, that looks really good and very powerful and quite unusual in that very often these graphical user interfaces don't give anything particularly lightweight or efficient as a result. But it looks as if you've managed to do that by being able to call Lua scripts from it.
Yeah, it's very cool. Thanks. So basically, in summary, we made some native UI built in FreeSWITCH, no third-party dependencies, and optionally behind Nginx and Apache if you want. But if you don't need, you don't need that. You just need FreeSWITCH. And we use mod Virtual and Lua in the back, React.js in browser, and we support SQLite and PostgreSQL. We use some Lua binding to feed XML and mod XML curl to feed dynamically generate XML configuration. And mod XML curl can be designed for the future for maybe clustering and expand the functionality. We use mod SQLite, mod ODBC CDR for CDR, and we use mod curl, also native Lua curl for HTTP client talking to other API providers. And IVR blocks I just showed in the last page. So it supports audio video call conferences with mod Virtual. It's very cool. We even built a web terminal that you can type command to FreeSWITCH on the web page, and you don't need SSH and going run FSCLI to control FreeSWITCH.
Great idea.
Yeah, mostly, but you cannot import some dangerous command like hop on or FS control shutdown or everything. Dangerous command is disabled on the web terminal for security reasons. Yeah. In China, we must support WeChat and WeChat for work. We can, when we make when we got a call, we can make notification to WeChat and WeChat for work, and we can also record, send the recording to WeChat,
right. And sorry, carry on.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask Seven, what is WeChat equivalent to for those people that have not come across WeChat? What's it like?
WeChat is like a Slack.
Okay.
It's more for social media. It's basically everyone has a WeChat account in China.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, it's like Slack, like your everyday Facebook, like every social media, like Telegram, like Discord or something.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, do continue.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. This page is the web terminal. The web terminal. It's using terminal.js, and so you can type command to FreeSWITCH. Okay, what next? So we are not only doing FreeSWITCH, so we extended our actual framework to Openesty. Openesty is basically like FreeSWITCH embedded with Lua. Openesty is just Nginx plus Lua. So then you can use Lua to extend it Nginx function. So in here in the code, you can see if Nginx is defined, we will map to the Nginx function. And if in a FreeSWITCH environment, we will call the FreeSWITCH function. So one framework will work both in FreeSWITCH and Openesty. Openesty can give some boost of the performance thing. And if you don't need to make a call, if you want to just using CURD for your database, you can just use Openesty.
Great.
And here's some complex function. I don't talk into detail. It's just some actual internal scripts. And we also use Camelio. So Camelio is a very well-known SIP proxy. And a lot of people using that. Yeah, Camelio has a built-in interface. It's called Camelio Embedded Interface Framework. Since the V5 version, they added that. So it's basically allowing using a lot of other scripting languages to write a safe routing logic instead of using the native routing blocks. The native one is something like a C language, but it's a little hard to learn and use. But with Lua and other and JavaScript and other well-known scripts, it's very easy to learn and very powerful. And we also use Lua for that. It's amazing.
Right.
And there's some performance comparison on the internet and by the author. It's basically the same as the native routing blocks.
Good.
So that's KEMI. And also, there are too many frameworks for web developers. Almost everyone forgot stored procedures. I love stored procedures. We use PostgreSQL, and I use a lot of stored procedures and triggered in PostgreSQL. And stored procedures can also written by Lua in PostgreSQL. It's also very powerful.
Good stuff.
We mostly use that for billing. Billing has a lot of logic, so we can just do that. Everything, every logic inside the database. We don't need to select from database, find the rate, and write back everything back and forth from the database and to that. But we do everything inside the database, so we get some performance gain. And the PL, it's called PL Lua. The native one is called PLPG SQL. It's basically, the performance is basically the same from this picture.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so for multi-tenant, so if you make a cloud, you're gonna need multi-tenant. And our design is that per tenant, per FreeSWITCH, per FreeSWITCH, per Docker. So we give everyone a Docker FreeSWITCH, their own FreeSWITCH, so it's isolated from other FreeSWITCH. But in the database level, we use one big database, but different schema. PostgreSQL has a very good design called schema, so you can naturally isolate a user to different schema. For example, I have 7.xswitch.cin, activity, xswitch.cin, demo, xswitch.cin. It all go to its own schema, and then it's completely isolated, but it's still in one database.
Right.
So we use Lua for FreeSWITCH, PostgreSQL, Camelio, but it's not Lua is not can only do that. It also can do Redis. We don't use that, but yet, but it can also use in Redis, in Wireshark, and VLC, even VLC. You can extend the functionality of that. Even we made some experimental implementation of the SignalWire API. So here is Lua version of the Signal Relay API I made in Openesty. So basically, it uses the Openesty socket. You can use the web socket to connect to SignalWire, and then when a call comes, you can register to SignalWire using Relay API. Then when a call comes in, SignalWire will send you a notification. So hey, here is the call. Then we can call the callback function called receiver. We will get a call object, so we can get the from and to, and use the call set data handler, and we can call answer and play TTS, hang up everything. So it's very easy, again, using Lua to write complex scenarios.
Yeah.
And the entire xswitch.cin is built on Lua by us.
That's good to know.
Okay, that's all of that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Seven. I'm going to bring you back so it's just you and me without your screen share. That's amazing. And I'd like to ask, is your work on Lua, is it to make it available to people that only know Lua, or is it more for programmers who might know several different languages but want to use Lua because of its lightweight characteristics?
Yes, it's basically a programmer can learn Lua in 30 minutes. So everyone is welcome to use that Lua. We will we made most patches to FreeSWITCH, and there are some more to coming, and we will contribute everything into FreeSWITCH so everyone can use that. And we will also open source our the Lua framework.
That's amazing. Well, thank you very much for sharing that, and also thank you very much for the huge amount of community contribution to FreeSWITCH itself. It sounds like you've been at it for years, adding all sorts of amazing stuff in there.
Yeah, thank you.
That's great. Okay, well, thank you for coming into the ClueCon Deconstructed Studio 7. It's great to have you along, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at a live ClueCon in the future, or maybe another online ClueCon in the future. But thank you very much. Good to see you. All the best to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone.